Great. Yeah, it's so nice to be here. I really enjoyed last year, and I've already kind of noticed a very like community focus this year through the presentations that I've seen already. So it's kind of interesting that we're all kind of on the same page there. So let me just get right into it. I wish I had before and after pictures, but it's very cool because I don't have before pictures of KPISS before, and I wish I did. But basically, we were basically like ripping off NTS Radio's site, and I wanted something more original. And it was funny because Tony from Data Fruits was in the Liquid Soap conference last year, and I actually hired him to do custom development for us, as well as I also hired two of my DJs to help with this overall design and concept. And it's just kind of cool because like at KPISS, like the broadcasters are also like not well. It depends what your skill set is and what you're interested in, but we're all kind of like working on the site and the brand together. And so yeah, I just kind of wanted to give like a quick overview of again, it's not the same if you don't have before and after pics. I will note when you go to the site, this logo is actually animated, which is kind of cool, and then these photos change all of the time. And something that I also want to do to kind of bring more people into the community in a visual sense is I started want to curate the front page with guest photographers, guest illustrators. And you can click on the page and it'll take you to the artist link. So that is really cool. And okay, so let's go to the next one here. Oh, and then of course this live player plays throughout, um, and when we're use, I mean we use the radio in the box Live 65, which Liquid Soap is built on. But so I'm not gonna say too much about it there, but love Live 65, takes care of the licensing, love it, and so this plays throughout even when you're browsing the site. Now this is the schedule page, and it's kind of cool because each day changes a new graphic. So Friday, it's like another graphic, that kind of thing. And then when you click onto the shows, it brings, oh no, uh-oh. Mm, sorry if this is out of order. What? Okay, well, all right. Well, just imagine you click on the show and then the show will come up in the box. And actually, no, this is actually part of my presentation. So um, sometimes you gotta be careful with web development and like working at a bargain, doing the best you can, because there's actually like a bug in the schedule right now, but we like can't afford to like fix it or whatever. So what I do, when I run into these things, I just say, okay, you know what, you only see the day on the schedule now. You can't click on the show and find the information. You have to go into shows and find that information, because like you have to be scrappy with this stuff. You know what I mean? Like there's lots of things I'd love to build if I had $1 million for KPISS, but I don't. So do the best that I can. Okay. So once you're in a show, this is the show page itself, and something that's really fun is they've got their social media here, little thing. These are the episodes, and then these are the tags that they generally play. Now they can be changed per episode, so if they did like all 3 episodes, change that. But this is kind of like giving you like a relative overview of what this DJ would play. Now, some of the shows are kind of more K-Piss branded. Like these guys really leaned into the theme, which actually has nothing to do with Piss, but you can look into that later. It's actually a pun on streaming. It's a golden stream. But it is fun when everyone kind of leans into it. It is sort of like the way that we are uh, you produce the content, it uploads to the KPISS Mixcloud. We share it collectively. We're all kind of working together to promote the thing. Like it's cool when people can also put it on their SoundCloud and everything, but I feel like you really just need to like direct all the links together in our situation to like keep the whole thing going. Otherwise, it would just be like a platform that is too all over the place for us. I mean, all right. So then when you go into an individual show, um, You got your track list here. See, they went crazy with the tags. This is like, they're explaining more about what the show is in the tags because sometimes, you run out of things to say. This is interesting. So Mixcloud, we published a Mixcloud and it plays here. One thing that I made sure to do was I took myself off of Mixcloud Select because what was happening was this player was turning into an advertisement for Mixcloud Select, which that's a whole another ball game that I can explain at another time. But long story short, we didn't want to do that. I love Mixcloud, but we didn't want to do that. Okay, so this is something that's really interesting. So, like we have like kind of our core group, and the schedule. Like my goal is to like have. So KPISS started in an RV with this huge bulletin, huge hand painted billboard that we put illegally and actually have access to that wall, but that doesn't matter. Sometimes you just have to do things and ask questions later. But so we had this RV, and that was the central location, and that really built the story and the brand. I mean, we were in a storage container before that, but that's another story. And people could come and interact, and it was great. And unfortunately, the pandemic shut that all down. But the spirit kind of lives on. And one thing that I've been doing, so I would have these guests come to the RV and do guest shows. We're kind of I mean, like a lot of our people culture, it's like TV writers and music people and college radio people who used to do shows on American college radio who like do other things now, but they remember that time, and record collectors and that kind of thing. And so I've been inviting guests that sort of reflect that, who they don't have regular shows, but they do one-offs in our special section and have the picture of the RV because it's kind of like the RV sort of like lives on in spirit this way. And it was funny because I was really worried that the station would just, that it was only about the physical space. To see the shows and all of that take center stage during the pandemic has been a blessing in disguise. Plus, I was getting really burnt out running that freaking space by myself. It was great, but like, come on. All right, did not have the money for that. Oh, this is what I was talking about. Okay, so, I mean, people donate and like we could cover our expenses, but all right. So this is what I meant. So you click on the show, and then you see the show here. It tells you about it, and then you can open it to the archive. But that's something that we need to. And all of the DJs upload everything to our WordPress site. And I did work on the back end. I had a developer, a guy to the back end to make the WordPress as simple and easy to understand as possible, where you put everything. So that really helps the DJs when they're doing that. And so this is our about section. It tells you, has more press, all of that. Talking about here, Tony did help with the site, all of that, and then we have different pictures of some of the DJs in this sliding community section, which is really fun because these are all pictures of the DJs, at their home studios, and some of them uh, play records. Some of them just do everything with audio hijack and a USB. I like ask people what their gear is and what they're interested in learning or setting up, and then I kind of kind of teach them. Some of them have more knowledge, some of them have less knowledge, but does become like a broadcasting school remotely of sorts. But it's tailored to each person depending on their setup, which is really, that's actually that's one of the funnest parts for me. And then what was I trying to say about this part? Oh, I think I was just saying something here about the front page. Sorry, it's been a long night. Okay, so this was some press here that we had for our old location, and it's just kind of cool because this is press that I have basically where I'm in my room doing the show, and it's just kind of basically saying that the DJs are also doing the same thing, which is really cool. We have a DJ. Another thing I really like about our community is that like it's insular, but like other, you know, the listeners are kind of in on the whole thing too. So it is really fun. But we kind of support each other directly in different ways. Like there's a Slack channel. People have found like jobs through the station, that kind of thing. And another cool thing, just you know, from a music part, is we have the current bass player in the band, Jesus and Mary Chain. I don't know if anyone knows that band, but they're like, you know, pretty. They're like what iconic band that got played in like college radio a lot back in the day. So it's really cool that the bass player is on our station. But what's also really cool is someone who has a show in the UK. They were touring in the UK. A KPISS DJ has a show in the UK, and the bassist from Jesus and Mary Chain, who also has a KPISS show, was touring, and he was able to get that DJ free tickets to the show, which was really great. And they had a little bit of we made postcards about KPISS for their merch table. So people were able to discover the station through their merch table on tour with the band, which is also, yeah, something that, again, like I'm trying to focus more on with the guests and really kind of getting people from the music community. Um, which is funny because like sometimes it's hard to do all by myself, but sometimes it's hard to like bring the right person on to help because it's like a fine line, because then they could use like their contacts. Like it's like this weird thing that happened last year where I brought this kid on. I don't want to say who it is, just someone's famous son. It's just worth noting. And I taught him like everything, and he was helping me book all the DJs, and taught him so much that he just like ended up starting his own competing radio station. So be careful. And then this is like a screenshot of, we primarily use Audio Hijack to go live, and that's because not everybody has mixers, so they're pulling a lot of stuff from like YouTube and places like that. I know that's kind of weird and kind of a licensing gray area, but Audio Hijack has been my best friend in this, and I have this video that I send people first, and then if they need more, not if they need more like help, I'll open a team viewer and we'll go through it together. But that's basically the part of like the intro package. Oh, so this is kind of cool too. So our Instagram, I kind of personalized it even more so from last year. And I talk about things that are going on with the station, but I also talk about like relative current events, things like that. And that's really kind of grown it in a really interesting, personal way. And something that I really like is when audience who is listening to KPISS and discovering it, they will often tag themselves listening to the station. And a lot of times they're listening on their televisions, like cast it to their TVs, and they take a photo of the TV playing the show or their screen. And that's really great. When that happens, I'm like, I know that, we're really doing something right here. Okay. So now here's the interesting thing, right? So I'm kind of like, I want to get more people, as we all do, and it's just this annoying thing where like people like every copying our community radio station model. Like everything that all of you guys are doing, people like big, huge brands are now starting to copy that and selling it back to people as an experience that they can do, which is fine. But it's hard because there's a generation of people discovering music just on Spotify. It's like they think that music just comes from Spotify. And now Anchor is doing this thing where you can, instead of like learning what liquid soap is, like doing all this stuff, you can just open your Spotify playlist, um, record some voice memos, put it together in a podcast, and export it. Good for them, but this is like not, it's it's just getting harder and harder to explain to like new people discovering what internet radio is and why they should take the time to listen to it and not just a Spotify playlist. And, you know, part of the thing we're saying that is, well, you hear voices, you hear all this stuff, there's all these cool things going on. So now, like, Anchor is like distilling that by saying, well, yeah, let's just, you know, make voice memos in between our Spotify playlists and import them or export them, you know. And you can't even, there's even like clauses in here, like you can't mix the Spotify music together. So you can't even DJ it properly because of licensing. So you have to like wait for the whole thing to like fade out. So I guess I hate this, but it was worth noting. But at the same time, it's kind of good because I think we're at a point now where you should just lean into your niche and your community and like screw all these people who like don't understand what that is because they like don't deserve community radio anyway. And which brings me to this other interesting thing. So Blast Radio is something where they're basically like taking a box, okay, and they take this box and instead of like setting up the encoder and doing all this stuff, you hit a button on this box that they sell you for $200, and then that streams directly to their platform. So I don't want to touch on too much about Blast. You can check it out for themselves. I don't feel as mad at Blast as I do at the other thing, but you know, everything's competitive to me. So, but it's also cool to like, you know, see these trends and like what's going on. So I just wanted to kind of, you know, talk about that. There's the box, and see, I guess for some of you more like technical people, you know, it says like more about the streaming and blah blah blah. And the thing is, you just put your input into this box and like that's it. And like sometimes like for me, like explaining the inputs and outputs and feedback and stuff, that's actually been one of my biggest challenges onboarding DJs. So they've kind of eliminated that, which is sweet. But again, I wish I had a freaking KPISS box that I could just send everybody to, but can't afford that. Oh, also, I guess I just want to close. Let me see, what else did I miss anything? So like last year when I was doing this, I was working at Live 65 and they're awesome. But I also just want to say now I work at TuneIn, and TuneIn is kind of interesting because they're hosting all of these radio streams on their platform. And when you get on TuneIn, then your stream is automatically able to be played on smart devices in the U.S. So people can say like, Alexa, play my station. And I know you can make a skill for that and everything, but it like makes it a lot easier. I'm not here to shill TuneIn. I'm just saying like it's cool to be a part of that and all of that. And yeah, sorry, like just I kind of other stuff. Did I miss anything? No, I mean I pretty much think that that's everything. And yeah, I've learned so much in this last year. I mean, the station, it's insane to keep it going, but it's also great. And I just really hope that we can keep it going and just kind of, you know, working with the community as best we can and kind of meeting everybody halfway, because so many people are like, you know, in the States especially, just everyone's going through, well, everywhere, I shouldn't say the States, but you know what I mean. I just mean like the pandemic and everything. It's really crazy. So I don't want to like push anything too much. People ask me, oh, when is there going to be another physical space? Da da da. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of taking it one step at a time and hoping for the best. And you can find me. I have got my contact on the station site, or you can find me on LinkedIn. I haven't really been reading the chat while I've been doing this presentation, so I don't know if I've gone over. And I hope I didn't miss anything cool to tell you guys, but I didn't really want to like, you know, I was kind of listening to a lot of the stuff that people were also saying. Like, it's just very cool that we're like on the same page there. But like I said, just kind of, I guess the difference with us, and an interesting thing to try or not, or everyone's doing their own thing. Like it's trying this story, branding, and this fun thing, and like knowing your broadcaster audience and your listener audience, and just trying to meet them and hoping for the best. And yeah, okay. I think
So
that's it.
thank you very much. So yeah, it was really nice talk as usual. So now we have our usual people in Liquid Shop. It's nice to see the same faces every year. So while you were talking, Antonia mentioned that XRCB they did design a box which is your dream box where you just plug and it works.
Oh,
So
sorry, I
maybe
wasn't reading the chat. I would, yeah,
yeah
talk to me. I want a box.
yeah. So maybe it's work. It's worth
We should all have
discussing.
boxes.
Yeah. Exactly. So, does anyone want to comment? So, either XRCB or anyone wants to comment about the previous talk, or maybe general radio or evolutions
Yeah.
of web radios.
Hello. Hi,
Hello.
Sheri. Thank you very much for your presentation. It's very nice and very
Sorry if it
inspiring.
was a little unorthodox.
No, at all. It was fantastic, and yes, exactly. I'm reading the chat that you were showing this box to stream, and we did this. I don't know, 3 years ago. We did one. I think that it has a Raspberry Pi inside. It's not
Oh,
the
cool.
most easy thing to make, I think, but there are like Pedro has just shared the link here in the chat. It's something that you can build really, and it
Oh,
doesn't have like
cool.
super expensive pieces and things, and it's open source, so
Yeah.
I think that it's better
Okay.
than the other one. So yeah.
Yeah, it would be great to like make a video to also teach the DJs how to do it themselves
Yes.
too. Because like that's really also where it's at.
Yeah. I guess that
Cool.
is one of the challenges is like teaching people how to make their setups and how to stream and how to set up
But
their equipment
that's why
and
I do
things like
those pre-recorded videos.
that.
And
Mhm.
then, and then when they ask me questions, I can tell who actually watched the video and who didn't. And I save myself time that way. I say, no, watch the video again. When you have a real question, then we'll circle back and do this.
Thank you very much, Sheri.
You're welcome. Anybody else?